Hi, everyone. So first of all, thank you for having me here, and thank you for listening, of course. My name is Sofía Swidarowicz. I speak Spanish. It's my native language, so I know the name is a little bit, confusing. But yeah, my talk today is about tooling. And it's called Home Depot because I don't know if you know the brand in the United States. It's a warehouse where you store a lot of tools and you can use them for different kind of things. So that's the idea behind this presentation. Because, in general, we work programming using programming applications, mobile areas with Swift, Swift UI, and so on, UIKit. But generally, we need to know a little bit more, and we need to work with more things regarding mobile. For example, consuming web APIs, debugging UI. We need to know also command line tools because they are awesome. We need to know about Git, continuous integration, and so on. So what I want to show you, I categorize all these tools that I found useful while programming, and I put it in different categories. So installation tools will be the first one, Git will be the second, web APIs will be third, and UI helpers and utilities in order. So I hope that you find this and no kung fu after it. The installation tools, if I ask you right now, what should I do to download Xcode? What will be your answer? Cool, yeah, exactly. But probably people that are starting with developing will say App Store, or maybe go to the portal, an app developer, go into Stack Overflow because it does have at least an updated list of all the binaries. You can download it. But yeah, exactly as you said it, we can use command line tools to improve and maybe to automate this process. And one of them is the X version before Xcode. This was the first command line tool that was around. And it was a command line tool, I think it was created by Boris, also known Neo Nacho. Okay, sorry, something happened. It was a nice tool that he developed, and it was pretty easy to use. You just type X version install and the number version of Xcode, and it will install it. It was very easy, and you don't need to use any UI for it. This tool is now deprecated. In fact, it's been migrated for the new uses Codes. And it works exactly the same, except that you just install it using Brew. And it works exactly the same. You have Xcode, you put the command line tool, Xcode install, and the version of the application of Xcode, and it will install it perfectly. Also, it has a lot of advantage because when you unzip it, it will be installed faster than App Store, for example. And also has a graphical user interface, which I recommend because you can download in parallel different versions of Xcode. After you install Xcode, imagine you have a new computer, or you switch jobs and you need to install everything again, and you already installed Xcode. The next step will be, I think, is customize Xcode. Probably you have also cool fonts, colors, or, there's a lot of things, snippets. So what I do usually is to back up my themes and my snippets in a Git repository. And what I do when I want to start again, to install it, everything from scratch, is just pull it from my repository and install it from scratch. But we need to install also applications. There is a command line tool to install applications as well, and this is called MAS. MAS is a short name for Mac App Store applications. And it works exactly the same. You just install this command line tool, search for the name of the application that you want to install, copy the identification of the application that you want to install, and run mass install in the normal application. This will download it and will work very, very good. Once you have your application installed, you can search for it and work with it whatever you want. So imagine that you have all these three things. The next step, I think, in my case, is thinking, OK, I could create a script to automate all the steps. So I just push a button and I download everything. I don't need to search for anything App Store or search for this or for that. I already have it in a single file. So you can create a file in Bash. That's what I did. And use even a modularize. You can modularize the applications. In this case, I just use a new file where I install, for example, the application using mass and the brew. The second one would be install an Xcode at the version that I want, and basically download from Git all my themes. This works as a charm every time. Even though you can use updates for it, you can install it from scratch, update, or delete. I mean, you can do a lot of things with just a script. The second part will be working with Git. I don't know if you know that there is a really nice command line tool to work in more than one branch at the same time. So I don't know if you were in a position where some colleague come and say, hey, can you tell me something about this branch? And you were, no, I'm committing my stuff. I don't want to stash it. So ask me later. But there is a solution for it, and it's called Git work tree. Git work tree is basically a linked copy from your project, from your working tree, to another one. So you just need to type Git work tree, add the name of your new work tree, and the branch that you want to switch on. This is basically how it works. You just type the command line tool, and it will create, if you see below, you see your code, your repository, where your code is, and will link it to it. So you can practically work at the same time in parallel. And if you want to do some changes in one branch, you can do it perfectly, because the other one will be in a clean state. This is an example. As you see, if you go inside of the code too, you will see a linked copy. So all the metadata from Git, it will be in the first one, and separately, you can work with it. For example, this is a real terminal. You have the code in the first repository. I have all my stuff edited, and in the second one, you can see the second branch with different kind of editing files. So it's really cool also when you want to compare things from one branch and another, and you don't need to give more excuses like, hey, no, I don't want to check out because I don't want to lose my changes. The second part of Git is about Git hooks. Git hooks are basically scripts that allows you to automate work previous or after a commit or a push. One practical example for it is when you want to do work for automate things on the command for anything related with command line tools. And if you go inside the folder and hooks in your repository, you will see that there exists a lot of samples for it. So you can check one of those, edit it, and you already have your hook created. So for example, if I'm using Swift format, I can create, this is just as a hook to format the code that I have it on stage, in stage state, and edit it with the format, with Swift format. So I'm just doing it after the commit and everything will be pushed and formatted. I don't need to check before. I don't need to run it for the whole build of the project. It's really short. I mean, it's just a couple lines of code. This is the output, and it's using only, I edited a lot of files, but it's only formatting the Swift files, the Swift extensions. The third space, I don't know, everybody has worked over here with the backend. Usually, most of the application use REST, GraphQL, or SOP. And Postman will allow you to check and edit all the API's goals, all the requests, and the information that you need to know previously to code any line inside your application. Probably you already know this, I imagine, but Postman also gives you the opportunity to download different APIs from Slack, for example, for Twitter, and other examples. You can download it to your Mac and check how they work. You can edit the query params. You can add the private key, and you can see the body of the request or the response before and after you type anything on your code. Also, you have environments. Those environments can change depending on the production on develop. The first step that I want to talk to you about is about UI helpers. I imagine that you know how to edit UI. I don't know if you're very versed using the debug view hierarchy for editing constraints. But this tool is really nice if you want to see all the layouts, all the layers and the hierarchy of your application. But what about if you want to edit any constraint? What will you do? Do you use another app for it, or you just imagine the constraint and how it happened? If you are like me, that you need to see it, edit it, and see it again, and see it over and over, I tend to use a nice application called Sherlock. Sherlock is a tool that have saved me a lot of time while debugging views. For example, because it runs in real time. So I can see it. It's almost like Swift UI, right? In Swift UI, you see every change on the playground, and it works exactly the same. This works exactly the same. You see now that I'm editing the two labels, and I'm switching the constraints. And this is awesome because you can see previously is done. And helped me a lot while debugging constraints. Okay, and this is a topic that is really controversial because when you work with universal links, probably marketing team will give you like tons of universal links or tons of deep links. And one of the things that we need to run deep links with is this command line tool. It's called xrun. Xrun will run with your URL, and it will recognize your deep link if you have it configured in your application. But imagine if a marketing team gives you 100 deep links, or at least 2, and you need to change something on the params. What would you do? Cry a little bit, like I did. Being angry, there are 5 steps: crying, being angry, accepting it, and go ahead. So I was thinking, okay, so what is the easiest way to work with deep links if I have a bunch and I'm just editing, updating, deleting, and so on? And using this command line tool was really helpful. No, it wasn't helpful at all. So I was thinking, maybe Automator can help me with this. Have you ever used Automator? Yes? Nice. So Automator is installed already on the Mac and allows you to create workflows, allows you to perform different kind of things, simple or complex, in strings. Maybe you can rename things in a single click. But in this case, with universal links and deep links, what I did was create a service. I put the command on this area and passed the argument. So the argument was anything that I copy on the clipboard. After that, I went to the keyboard and create a shortcut. So every time that I wanted to open a deep link in a simulator, I just needed to type this shortcut. This is a real example. It's as easy like that, and as easy like that. This is a real application. I downloaded it from a public repository that handles deep links. And yeah, it's really, really easy to use. And even if you type a wrong deep link, the automator will yell that you are not using a correct deep link. And last but not least, and because this was new previous years, there's something called shortcuts. I don't know if you have used it. Probably you have used it before doing some, I don't know, trivial things. But I was like, OK, what can I do to try this out? So I was thinking, OK, shortcut. OK, so shortcut is easy to use. OK, let me check. What is the most annoying thing to work in Xcode? Derive data, exactly. So I was thinking, this video goes fast. Creating a command line tool, a shortcut that deletes my derive data. And it was as simple as putting the rm remove all the files from derive data in a specific application that I'm using. And it was as simple as that. So every time that I run the command line tool, boom, derive data is gone from that application. So you can make it more complex. Maybe you can pass an argument from the, imagine that you're working in 5 applications. Maybe you're a very productive guy or girl, and you have 5 applications, and you want to clean just one. You can pass as an argument in this case, and it will delete that. Or maybe remove everything from the data. You just are working with just one application. And yeah, that's it. Shortcuts are really easy to use. The last question that I wanted to ask you is, should I or you purchase software? Do you use or do you purchase software that help you in your day-to-day basis? Yeah, me too. So I will say right now that we help another developer that could be next. The next will be you. Maybe you have a great idea and you want to create a tool that helps a lot of people. Maybe you can want open source it, but also you maybe want to sell it. Yeah, I think it's important that we help each other in this area. And last but not least, because I know that Uruguay is playing, I wanted to share with you that I open source. I will upload all the tools that I spoke before. And if you want to upload anything, maybe you have cool scripts that you want to share with the world, maybe, or with me, I don't care, maybe with the world, of course, you can go there and upload it, create a PR and share it with the world. And if it's long enough, maybe we can create something more cool, like a library or something like that. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Sophie, and great talk, by the way. So we have a couple questions for you. There is one that you've already answered, which is where we can see your setup, and I think it's the previous slide on your repository.
Yeah.
There is a comment on another question that says, really nice automation for the deep links. Thanks for sharing this.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I can share it. I will share it so you can download it and use it for your own
Okay. Eric asked, is there a future for UI Kit inspection tools like Reveal and Sherlock in a Swift UI world?
That's a good question because no, Swift UI, I mean, you can use it, you can use Reveal, you can use Sherlock still with Swift UI, but the way that Swift UI renders the view is not the same as UI Kit. So you will probably see the layers, you will see everything, and you can edit. In fact, using Sherlock, you can edit the constraint, I mean, if you want to change the layout in general, the colors of a label to see how it looks, you can do it. But you won't be able to see exactly, for example, if a label is called home, you won't see it because it's rendering differently. But you can still use the tools.
Thank you. Joanne says, good talk, thank you. Is there any time when using a work tree is a bad practice?
I mean, you can create several work trees. And the idea, the bad practice will be like you have tons of it. So that's not a good practice because it's better to delete work trees that you don't use anymore. But in general, I just use two, the original one and the second one to work in parallel. So that's my approach. In general, it depends on you. I mean, if you need to create 1,000 of it and you don't delete it, that's not necessary. So I think using two is more than enough, in my opinion. So, but you feel free to use it, how many you want. But
okay,
that's it.
And we have one more question and one more comment.
Okay.
Is Sherlock easy to use, or do you find it finicky? Only work for some views. Any tips?
I've been using Sherlock like since 3 years ago or 4. So I've been using it a lot. Reveal is more expensive and is bigger, but you need to install it in your application. Sherlock is not. You just run your simulator and and activate Sherlock. So the tip will be you use the application that you feel more comfortable with. In Sherlock, I mean, I'm really pro Sherlock. I mean, I will hug the guy who made it. In fact, I just sent him an email thanking him for his work. But yeah, in general, use the software that you feel more comfortable with. I have friends using Reveal a lot. But for me, Sherlock is the best. Sorry for Reveal, guys.
We have a Reveal raffle later today.
Really? So yeah, Reveal is awesome.
Okay, so the last comment, and it's one that I agree a lot, says, some of these tools look really helpful to ensure all team members are using the same dev stack versions. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope that you find it useful.
Okay, let's give Sofía a big applause.